Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, we here. This is Tyrone and my co-host, Candyman,
Candleman.
known as Candyman with Kenny, ain't it?
Kenny.
Yeah,
Yep,
okay.
known as the Candleman.
Yeah, I want to kind of talk to you briefly, and then hopefully we have enough time so we can have a dialogue. Uh, First of all, where did we come from? I started World War II. I'm talking about only Detroit now, but it's reflected all over the country because it was a policy by the U.S. government. It was a trade and tariff policy, and that trade and tariff policy was to uh, recruit, save capitalism. After World War II, all the capitalist countries of Western Europe had bombed each other. Germany bombed England, France, and they bombed. And they, when they was bombing, they bombed the manufacturing, and they bombed the agriculture. And don't forget, in the late 30s and 40s, the United States was still in a depression, economic depression. But the war was over there in Western Europe. So both of those warring factors bought ammunition and food from the United States government. That helped brought the United States government out of the depression. And they sold food, ammunition to both warring factors, and then later only to the French and the English, England, and the rest of them. But the only way they found themselves the only capitalist country, the United States. The rest of them had tore up each other. And they didn't have, they had spent up, all the other countries in Europe spending up their dollars, buying ammunition, buying food and stuff. So no country can trade with another country unless it has the other country's currency. They didn't have no dollars, so they couldn't trade with the United States. Capitalism was about ready to fold. And you had in Eastern Europe, a new market came about through China, Russia, and Eastern European countries. So this country decided they would become a market for Volkswagen and boom boxes. And what they done, they didn't charge Germany any tariffs, that's taxes. So that's how Germany built back in the starting in the 50s. The second car was the Volkswagen, and they decided that they would move all the manufacturing to the suburbs, build the suburbs and put manufacturing in there. They started in the late 40s, and in 1958 they had 25 new plants. So when they tell you that the riot calls for them to leave the city, that's a barefaced lie. They already was building factories in unapproved land. Then they built the highways. But at the same time when they built that, there was something else happening. There was a mechanical cotton picker. Start picking cotton. That was the beginning of the manufacturing, where mechanical lies in the plants, the plantations down south. That threw millions of black people off the farm, off those plantations. They had nowhere to go but to cities to look for jobs. So there was two traffic coming in and the whites going out. They decided they would not let blacks move out there, and when the jobs, all those factories and stuff left here, they had trains, buses. Trains running in Detroit. They ran from here to Huron Valley, all to Ypsilanti, all the way up in the Thumb. They took those trains, sold them to New Mexico. So we could not get out there when the jobs left. And they would not give us the government guaranteed the white worker had no money, that if they would guarantee the banks, if you loan them money to buy this house, if they don't pay, we will pay for the white worker. But they did not do that to blacks. You couldn't get FHA. That's the Federal Housing Administration. You couldn't get it in Detroit, and you definitely couldn't get it in the suburbs. So we were trapped when we came to these cities with no jobs. And that's how you start having the ills of the city, crime and stuff. Coleman used to just say, you know what, no, and they had to bleak him out, you know, because Coleman was a person who studied policy. That's Coleman Young Sr. And he was one of the few politicians who did that. So I wanted to kind of run that. But when all the factories left in Detroit, Hudson Department Store left, and all the surrounding stores are downtown, and it destroyed downtown. When it destroyed downtown, Detroit became a government-based town economy. When Coleman came in, Coleman made sure that the blacks had a job. He made sure they got government jobs, and he wouldn't let no Gilbert them like that type come in here unless we had the job. They couldn't come in here and talk about we going to give them a job later. Yeah. He held up the cable company over 5 years and said, no, it's going to be Barton going to get a cable, and little black boys and girls going to learn that. On-the-job training. Yeah. And that's what he done. But we don't have that breed after 1994. We have people, the successive city council has been nothing but political couriers. They did not rise in our struggle with us. They came out of colleges, and they came and we was fooled. We thought since they went to college and had black skin, they knew what to do and they would come back and help us. But they came back and slaughtered us in Detroit. Yeah. The successive city council gave the city way before oil ever got here in the emergency manager. Right. So I just want to run that real fast to you, and that's how we got. Oh, let me say this to you. To put insult on injury, the federal government went and recruited immigrants, especially in the Middle East. And they came here and they situated them after they went down on Jefferson to the immigration office. They situated them outside of Detroit. They told us that the immigrants stayed in one room, 20 of them, and they saved up $5, and then in a couple of years they was millionaires, and that's how they opened up the stores. Again, a barefaced lie. Right. The government recruited them, brought them to the urban areas all over America where black population was. In Detroit, they brought them here, and then when they brought them here and situated them out in Dearborn and elsewhere around Detroit, Small Business Administration financed them to open up stores. It was a Arab, he took an American name called Michael George, and he opened up a dummy company, whereas that they could filter the money through. And if you want to check me out, go get the statistical abstract from the U.S. Census Bureau and ask for Small Business Administration loans and grants to minorities. Yeah. You will see they gave the immigrants every 10 years billions of dollars, 4 and 5 billions, and gave black business people about 3 million in 10 years. And I had a friend was over the Black Business Association, Harper. The biggest gripe, they could not get capital to, of course, crime was happening because they cut all the factories out. So they wanted to put bulletproof windows and stuff like that in and have money to stock their shares. But they couldn't get it from Small Business Administration. Mm-hmm. That's how, through two policies, we got to where we at today. Suburbanization policy, move all the factories out of Detroit as we was coming here, and then wouldn't let us go to the suburbs to follow the jobs with policies. Then they took the immigrants and placed them over us. And that's why, with our own tax money, that's why the immigrants dominate Detroit. Yeah. But those ministers who support Duggan, the Wayne County, what's his name? Warren Evans, the NAACP, Reverend Anthony, the president of NAACP, that's Reverend Anthony, yeah. And the councils of Baptist pastors in general, the lawyers, black lawyers in Detroit, they all was told to sit back and help join to destroy the black community so they could build a new Detroit. Yeah. And let me tell you what they said. I'm going to read. This here was in January the 18th, 1992. This was the issue of the Detroit News. The writer is Chuck Morris from Birmingham at that time. He's a legislator in Lansing now. I don't know if he's a senator or he's in the House, but he's a legislator right now. Here's what he wrote. Black economic independence and self-sufficient has failed. The future is one of cooperation with suburbs and business leaders, setting the terms. This is a hard pill for Detroit. Now, all of us wasn't accepting that pill. Who accepted that pill was the black intelligentsia, the prostitutes running around as our leaders. That's the ministers. Mm-hmm. That's the political careers, yeah. Like Cushionberry, yeah. Who was trained in school to be a politician, but was not part of our struggle. And you see what he done to us. Mm. So those people are the ones, the Negroes that got higher education. They're the ones that swallowed that bitter pill. Yeah. And hear what they said. But currently, they are swallowing this bitter pill and digesting it. Mm. Mm. Then I looked and I said, okay, what is happening here? And hear what I found, and I'll tell you what I found. I found, wait just 1 minute. I'm going to tell you who these people represent. The black politicians, the city councils we got now. Right. The council of the Baptist pastors, and especially that Reverend Vance. We just 1 minute. I want we to know who is our friends and who is our enemy. That's right. Right. Now, Gilbert says. Wait a minute. I'm kind of disorganized because all my power went off in my house, and when I was trying to get organized, I couldn't see and didn't have no way to organize. Let me say this. In city government, the white mayor was selected by the clerk's office last 4 years ago. Yeah. That white mayor showed total disdain for the people of Detroit. Yes. Over transportation, he couldn't find no blackies in the Baptist pastors to be the director over transportation. He went out in the suburbs and that's who's over transportation. Yeah. he decided that he would have over the empty land and the property. He appointed a white woman. He couldn't find no blackie in decision-making position. And he appointed her to handle the land bank. But he separated the land bank from the city. So the land bank now is on stock land, all our empty property of Detroit. The empty land is owned now by a land bank that has come from the suburbs. You remember that what Moss said? They're going to set the terms. They're going to, and it's a bill appeal for the Council of Baptist pastors and them to swallow, but they are digesting it. The every major department over hiring in human resource, a white director. He couldn't find no black director. Reverend Anthony wasn't qualified because we have to have a white town because blacks have messed up. And those blacks, that's what they pushed. Let's say this. Not only, this is terrible what's happening in Detroit. Right. A white judge over the bankruptcy appoints a white elementary school teacher, Meriwether, and this white elementary school teacher, supported by the union, DFT Teachers Union president, they're talking about she's so great. She didn't respect them. All the decision makers in the school system over budget, over curriculum, I'm trying to remember, all of them are white. She did not appoint one black. These people you call your leaders, these people are not no Klansmen. It was these people who you call your leaders, they the one who gave away the city and gave away the future of our young people. That's criminal. A crime has been committed. That's what you're seeing in Detroit, a crime scene. Yeah. And those crime scenes was those two policies in collaboration with the so-called leadership. Every last single city council from member since 1994 has been a part of it. I don't borrow none. And I got their records, how they voted. One is supposed to be Harriet Tubman of our time. But this person, not calling no name, she in 2003, she voted for the Detroit Housing and Maintenance Code. That's what they are using now to increase inspectors. And they're putting people out of their homes rapidly. When they say that the people are stop leaving Detroit, barefaced lie. Let me tell you why it's a barefaced lie. In 1990, rounded off, you had 777,000 black people in Detroit. In 2000, 20 years later, you had only 590,000. Over 187,000 blacks was forced out of Detroit. From 2010 to 2015, in 5 years, 27,000 blacks was forced out of Detroit. Last year, when Doug and them saying that it's, that it's stabilizing, you had 31 100,000 blacks in 1 year forced out of Detroit from 2015 to 2016. They have stepped up. Just the opposite of what they're saying. They just stepped up. And you got some hatchet head so-called leaders take their figures and don't break those figures down. And they're telling us about the new Detroit going down in the white city down there that we see they used to call downtown and midtown. Ain't no downtown no more. Downtown is made up of commercial and civic center. Ain't no commercial center down there for no shopping. You got no Hudson and Marshall Fields. You got specialty shop, and I went down there to buy a belt, and they told me it's $200. It's for the labor aristocracy, not for us out here.
Right.
And tell us they're going to move the courthouse over and really this whole civic government on Plymouth, where the old American Motor is going to be. If they move them over there in a city where you got, when I did the employment rate, you got 200-something thousand people in Detroit that's employed. Only 78,000 are residency of Detroit. And when you take the 78,000 into the population of 500-something thousand, leaving off the children, you got an employment rate of 18.1%. All the important jobs are on Woodward. And I want you to go down Woodward when they're talking about how Detroit is coming back. I walked down Woodward, and I parked my car. It was hard to find a spot because they got those parking meters because they know that we don't have no insurance because we can't afford them. And they keep us down. You got to put your license in there. So they know you scared to do that because you come back, your car is booted or it's pulled away.
That's right.
So
that's right.
I found an old park somewhere, and my leg kind of hurt me, but I had my cane. And I went, starting at the Coleman Young building. I went down Woodward. Now, it was all snow. I had put my glasses on because it was so bright with all these whites. I didn't see very few blacks. So I went in the restaurants and stuff. When I went in there, I asked, could you give me the menu? It gave me a chance to look around. I looked around in the kitchen. I seen who was washing dishes. White. Didn't have no education now. I seen who was waiting tables. No education. Bartender. No education. I went all the way down to Midtown. I seen it in every restaurant and thing. I seen it over on Cass. So when the preachers come and talk about we got to train, you got to sacrifice and train to be to get employment now because you know it's all educated. No, those were no educated people. They didn't bring no application when their business opened up. They transported their workers. That don't help us. Right. And you had Reverend Vance talking about we tired of hearing y'all talk about you're gonna put you out. Now listen what Reverend Vance said. Reverend Vance, this is Detroit News, November 29th, 2006. Cooperative plan emphasized on, quote, Reverend Vance, attracting new residents, increasing housing code enforcement on the residents. We can whine jestable about exodus of Detroit, black residents. The time for belly aching, listen to this, the time for belly aching has passed. Then he tells us corporation is carrying out ethnic cleansing. And he said, he didn't say that, I interject that. But here what he said ended up. We must demolish entitlement, welfare, for the, he's talking about for the 84 who don't have no job, man, woman, and child. Create a new epoch, that means white race, that moves us forward, a more independent, skill-based economy. He's for capitalism, like all those other preachers, because they can get some crumbs. Their God is not God in the sky. Their God is the CEOs of corporations. That's what all the ministers, I ain't seen one is not a lapdog for corporations.
Thank you. Yes.
So I want to, he said entitlement. You got some preachers come on 33. Entitlement is over. Entitlement. We can't build a city back. And Gilbert wrote an article. This was July 17, 2014, issue of Detroit News. Now this is their tour board here. Hear what they said. No city can sustain itself when majority of its residency are relying on public assistance. Then I asked, what you going to do with the population that ain't got no jobs? But let me tell you about how they built the suburbs. And this is what these, I'm going to say spooks don't know. They're supposed to be our leaders. They built the suburbs on welfare. That means public money. It wasn't private. They voted that they were going to attach to, because, you know, it was unimproved land out there. But you had to have water and sewer. They voted to attach, and 30 million here, 30 million there. And what happened, when they voted like that, they left and went to the suburbs, Dagwood and Blondie. We built the suburbs because we paid for the pipes going to the suburbs. Wouldn't be no suburbs. That was public money, welfare. Yeah. So I want you to know what the programs, and then I'm going to open up. Downtown, the new Detroiters, they file a tax form 1099. 1099, they don't have to pay no income tax. Let me give you some programs that they got downtown. Blight Area Rehabilitation Act. They got Tax Increment Financing Authority. They keep the taxes to encourage development. What development? That stadium, that arena with our tax money. The next one, Local Finance Authority. They keep the money for development. But let's see what when the wagon train come in and the pilgrims come in on us. What do? The one downtown, which you got our tax money, our utility, we pay utility taxes. That's what pays for police services. Or every corner, police is on it with our tax money, but not out here. For Hattie when she go to the store and get robbed. The Economic Development Corporation. The city pays for loans and land for the industry and commerce. That's who's going to pay for the land swap. Okay, they talk about. The second one, Neighborhood Development Corporation. The next one is now listen to this, the Neighborhood Enterprise Zone. 50% of property taxes abated for 12 years. And they just got it silently, the black predominant city council political careers, oligarchs owned by corporations. That means that Jones woman, the president, all, they renewed it. But they don't put that in the paper. They don't pay no property, no income tax, no property tax. Let's keep going. They got also the Renaissance Zone. The Renaissance Zone, they don't pay no utility taxes, no property taxes for 15 years, and they just got renewed. They pay no taxes. That's why everybody's running down there happy. And their children is skating on skateboards. And the ones who support Duggan see our kids in the garbage can and tell them, get out of there. It ain't the Klansmen who's doing it to us. It's these black intelligentsia coming out of colleges and they own sororities like the NAACP, the Urban League, and you got the black nationalists with dashikis, like Minister Malik Shabazz, who's running around. They never had a job, and he's got a house and a car and sending children to school, getting crumbs. So I want to say that to you. And now, how do we come out of this? I'm going to vote for Coleman, not because Coleman can do anything, but it can stop the steamroll. We in Detroit are under absolute oppression. When the financial manager left here, and when he was created by Public Act 436. Public Act 436 say when he leaves, then you're going to have a financial review commission, and the language says that it would be unknown. When you hear them say 13 years and 3 years, that's not true. That's not in the language. The language in the bill says unknown, that they would have absolute say. When you got the governor, through appointee, got control of the city's executive branch, the mayor, and got control of the city's legislation, the city council, and got control of the income tax and the budget, the money. We all know whoever got the purse calls the tune. Our leaders would have to call up to Lansing and say, because they want to collect the income tax of Detroit now and process it. Or, state treasurer, how much money we got? State treasurer can tell them anything. So the whole state came back on our backs. And I would talk about another time, if I come on air, when they told us Detroit was in trouble. That's not true. The suburbs was in trouble. They built all those little small suburban towns, and each one had their own tax base. But as more went to the suburbs, what happened, They found themselves in those little towns. Dearborn could not pay for the infrastructure that was rotting after so many years. The bridges that was crumbling in their township, and the roads. So all over America, I got some documents I would share them with you. They decided building to the suburbs was a bad thing. They had to come back to the cities, so they had to blame us when we didn't owe no debt. We owe future debt, and future debt is not known in the law as immediate debt that you had to have bankruptcy. So I'm going to end on this, and I will talk about at the end how we can come out of this. Yeah.
All right. You on the air? Hello, you on the air?
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, I was calling in reference to a program that Reverend Holly had explained.
I can't
Can you
hear.
hear me?
Can you speak up?
Yeah, I was calling in reference to a program.
Okay, I hear you now.
Yeah, I was calling in reference to a program that Reverend Holly had discussed. And I was calling to get further information on it.
Now, which program was that?
It was dealing with a repair program, and it was like a conference, and you would pay for the classes that he was going to be presenting. Are you familiar with it?
I'm not familiar. I know he has a lot of programs, but let me say this to you. It's the policies that was directed at us as a people. We cannot come out of this policy with an I, me, and my program. We can't come out of this oppression. We have to come out of this oppression as a people. So any program that will only address individual advancement has been a failure. You go to school, you learn a skill, you get a job, you open up a house, and some kind of way that means we. No, that's not how people that oppress ever got free from oppression. When the people found themselves in the 30s, did not have money to sustain themselves through the depression, they went in the streets in millions, and they forced Roosevelt and the Congress to give up Social Security, unemployment compensation, and help for mothers, single mothers with children. And the same thing happened in the 60s when the Civil Rights Revolution started in the 60s. First, they showed it when they boycotted the whole people and forced the government to give up concession. And then in 63, when they start mass marching, that's how you got the Civil Rights Accommodation. That's how you got Food Stamp Act for all people. And the same thing in 65. That's how you got Medicare and Medicaid, which they're trying to take back now. Those was concessions by the government and corporations. And that means as a people, we benefited, not programs of you can have those programs. I'm not going to kick them, but you can't push those programs as the programs to liberate people that's suppressed.
Thank you.
I understand that.
All right. Thank you for the call. You're on the air with Tyrone Travis.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, again.
Okay, very good. I want to first off by saying that I really appreciate you bringing some very, very good information to the forefront about all these different governmental programs. Now, the first thing that strikes me is that we have a problem with disseminating good information to our people across the city. And I fault, the religious organizations for that the most. Now, I feel that if you can gather this information and you put in all this effort to put this information together, and you've done all this research, we as a people across the city should be able to access that information and, that would leverage those efforts. Because, as you said, a program for one individual doesn't bring us out of oppression. What we need is a system that will allow us to reach out to every citizen in this town and be able to help them figure out what they need as an individual to strengthen us as a whole. Now, I'll tell you why I say that. My grandmother was born in 1910, grandfather was born in 1900. And one thing that they said to me as a little boy, they said, Jack, we need to be doing everything. And the reason we need to be doing that is so that when our young people come up looking for a job, they don't have to always be looking at a white face. Mm-hmm. And what I've noticed about that is that a lot of the people who are able to work, they're not able to employ. And until we have some people who are able to employ, then we won't be able to address the large number of working people that we have in the city. So we need everything. We need the jobs. We need the businesses. We need the governmental tax on the barriers that are barriers to our success as a people. We need the political will. And, there's a lot of things that we need. But in order to get this done, we need to be able to work together. Yeah. Because what they're doing now is they're doing the divide and conquer thing. I think you all recognize that. So I'd like you to do me a favor. Is I'm going to ride up to WHPR. I am actually in Westland. I'm going to get in my car and ride up there. And if you'll just hang loose a little bit after the program, I'd like to discuss this with you a little bit further.
Okay, now.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right, bye.
Yeah. All right, caller, you on the air.
Good morning, Candleman and Ty. This is Deputy Chief Angus.
Good morning, Deputy Chief Angus.
Hey, look, Ty and Candleman, I want to thank you guys for having this show. Okay?
All right.
That's what I want to do first.
Okay.
It's very informative and it's educational. And just like the previous caller said, Ty, you got a lot of information, and he wants to know about, how to put all that information together. Well, you have it. I help you with it.
You're right.
Candleman will help you with it, and there's others that will help you with it.
Yeah,
So
I need it.
if anybody wants to get any of the information that Tyrone has, we have the means of the research, okay?
Yep.
Now,
yeah.
Second thing is, before I forget, we have to support Senator Coleman Young.
Yes,
okay?
yes.
We know it's the blackout.
Yes.
So everybody that's familiar with social media, Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, Skype, get on there and tell your friends and just put the word out there that we got to get Coleman Young in there.
We got to stop. We got to stop this steamroll.
Yeah.
And he will stop it.
Okay. And what you're talking about, Tyrone, is what's called tax increment financing,
right?
Commonly known as TIF. Some folks call it, compare it with the transformational Brownsfield. Okay. Now, tax increment financing has been around since 1952. Mm-hmm. And as you say, Tyrone, this council, over the years, the council has done the citizens of Detroit a great injustice.
Yeah.
If this program's been around since 1952, then why do we have this situation in Detroit of a foreclosure crisis? Okay? Why do we have an affordable home crisis? Because when you look at the definition of tax increment financing, it is a public financing method that is used as a subsidy for redevelopment, infrastructure, and other community improvement projects. Okay? So the question is, and even white Republicans who was against this bill for Gilbert, and keep in mind, this bill was designed for Gilbert, and I'll tell you why. But the white Republicans said, this bill is corporate welfare.
That's what it is.
Pardon me?
That's what it is.
Yeah, it's corporate welfare. And this was Representative Joseph Radke, from Democrat from Ann Arbor. Okay? And he's worked with Brownsfield Development, Brownsfield Transformational Development. And he and other Republicans have said this is not a TIF. This is corporate welfare.
Yes.
And the reason it's corporate welfare is because Dan Gilbert is going to collect the taxes. Okay? He's going to collect the taxes that the construction workers that's working on his project, the Hudson building, he's going to get their workers' tax. He's going to get the sales tax. He's going to get the property tax of all the businesses that's in the footprint of that development for the next 20 to 25 years. Okay? They're not telling you that.
No.
See, that's what the Black Council, that's what the mayor should be telling you. Okay? Now, if tax increment financing is supposed to be used for those things that I mentioned, affordable housing and also to help with not affordable housing, but affordable housing and foreclosure, then why do we have a mayor that come from the suburbs, that's a white carpetbagger? He's supported by black sycophants. That's Reverend Holly, Shabazz, Edgar Van, all the rest of them. Why isn't he using that to help people in Detroit facing these different crises? Okay? And if you read Metro Times and all the several reports that came out, the 139 square miles, and you look at the reports from University of Michigan, Michigan State University, you see that this is a great injustice to the citizens of Detroit. This mayor is not the mayor that have the interests of the people. His interest is corporate.
Right.
It's crystal clear.
Yeah.
And you got all these preachers that's running around here embracing this guy, and you want to know why. It's because, again, he's for corporate. He's for the banks. And when you look at prosperity, okay, that's money.
Right.
Not about getting to heaven,
Right.
but it's about money, okay? And then this way, every member of your church that come to our banks for a mortgage, we will give you, not the church, the preacher, a kickback. Now that's a fact. And so that's why we need to read. We don't need to be caught up in all this me, mine, I, as you say, Ty, because you're exactly right. That's the reason Reverend Holly nothing that he's touching today is working because people don't trust him.
Right.
Okay? You look at Shabazz, you look at Akila, you look at all these, Benny Napoleon, Warren Evans, you look at all these people that's getting behind this guy and these preachers, and they know better. How in the hell can you have 86% poverty in your city, and the mayor, you're running around here talking about the mayor shouldn't talk about poverty? Hell, you got the president, you got governors, you got Congress people talking about poverty. Mm-hmm. You got mayors of other cities. You got council people of other cities talking about poverty. Mm-hmm. Look at the candidates running for mayor in Cleveland. They addressing poverty. The reason this mayor don't want to address poverty is because it's a clear indication that if you got poverty as high as it is in Detroit, your administration is a complete failure.
It was very informative. Amos, we got some other on the line, so wrap it up for me.
Okay. So the bottom line is, hey, Ty, again, I thank you for your show. Yeah. Any information, research information you need, I help you. And just like Coleman Young's political ads say, what's happening to us in Detroit is simple as black and white.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. Talk to you later. Keep
okay,
up
now.
your work.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to ask y'all if you think if this mayor wins the election again, how devastating is he gonna be for the city, and if the foreigners and the folks in the suburbs, if they gonna benefit from him? What's your opinion on that?
Say that one more time.
Can you repeat yourself?
It wasn't very clear, but so I can't do.
I think he said if this mayor win, will it benefit the people in Detroit or the suburb people? I think it wouldn't benefit us, because if you take your car to a mechanic for a problem and he's supposed to fix it and you bring it home and it's the same thing, why would you take it back to that same mechanic? That's the same with this mayor. You know, it's time people should be out fighting. You know, we cry about everything and what ain't done, but we won't get off our butts and go vote and vote right. You know, Coleman A. Young, the second, is the one for this job. And I don't see why blacks are sitting around and not doing what they need to do to get him in there. Every other nationality will get out and raise hell about their where they live. But it seems like we're comfortable with this. I don't understand. It's not enough of us. We got a lot, but not enough. We need young, old, middle-aged to get out there and fight and put the right people in place. We need to get rid of these city councils and get some city councils that's going to be for the people, the ground root people, not the corporate. We need some action in our neighborhood. We don't need talking about lights. We had lights when before he got in there. My trash was getting picked up. The only thing people will say is he put lights and trash. Okay, what good is lights outside when people in the house don't have light, and water? I mean, we got to change. It's time for us to wake up and quit drinking their Kool-Aid, thinking their ice is colder than our ice. We got to start doing for us and quit running to them and accepting the crumbs that they sweep to us off the table. It's time for us to have a big the cake. I'm tired of crumbs. Let me get. Yeah. You on the air? Go ahead.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
Fine. How you doing?
This is the East Side lady, and how are you, Tyrone?
I'm doing pretty
and,
good.
How are you, Cattleman?
I'm fine. How you
I'm
doing?
so glad y'all are on telling these people about what's going on in the city of Detroit, but it's not doing any good, because you got Duggan that done paid these people off to vote for him and for vote for what he wants to be going on in the city of Detroit. And they're doing this. And I don't understand. Now, you got, what is his name, Malik Shabazz, He's that man's best friend, and he's telling all these black people to vote for him. Now, what color is he? He don't have no color. He has money pockets and stuff. He don't have anything going on for himself but what Duggan and the rest of these people tell him to do. And what he's doing, he's killing the old people in the city of Detroit. He's killing all these people for $1, for a dime that he's never had in his life before. Why don't y'all wake up and talk about him like he talk about us?
Yes.
Talk about him, what he did to his partner that's in jail for 30 years. That was his partner. Now, whose clothes does he wear now? He wears his own now, but he was wearing his partner's clothes. Y'all don't listen. Y'all don't understand what's going on. The young man is getting paid to get up there and do that, him and Miss Kitty. And if I ever see that heifer, I'm going to tell her something that she will never forget as long as she lives in this world again. I'm not scared of these people. What they're doing to us, their parents did to our great-grandparents. And if you still insist on this, when our children grow up or when your grandchildren grow up, they're going to do it to them. Because the people are scared. We're dying off so fast, it's a shame. I've been sick for 4 months. I've lost 21 pounds. And I've been trying to talk to people, and they act like they don't like me anymore because I'm not out there dying. Now one sent me a card, and every time something happens in the city of Detroit, I'm out there. Yeah. I'm out there. And every time somebody says something, oh, she don't know what she's talking about. I know what I'm talking about. I was born here. I not only went to Coleman Young, I went before Coleman Young, and I worked for him for nothing because he helped people, and he always looked out for his race of people. I want y'all to understand that I admire both of y'all for what y'all are doing, and y'all keep up the good work. But these people got to wake up and stop saying God this and God that. God is one person, and he belongs to everybody.
Thank you.
Wake up and help your own race of people. Give these people some money that's on this station right now so they can help do something for us in the city of Detroit and put Coleman Young in that darn place. Because if you don't, you're going to leave Detroit this time. They're going to make sure you won't be here no more. So get up off your sorry butt and go and do something for these people that's up here on this station every day talking about what's going on, and y'all say, amen, amen. God is for everybody.
Yes.
Okay.
He ain't for Malik Nim. He's for all of us.
Thank you, Miss Eastside, and we hope you feel better, and thank you for the call.
Yeah.
Because we always know you a fighter, whether you're sick or well.
I'm going to fight.
Yeah,
and I will be out next week doing the same thing, and I got papers where Duggan and all of them got hundreds of thousands of dollars to get rid of all of y'all in the city of Detroit.
Thank you.
So wake up. Wake up. And you women, stop this thing about God is doing this, God is doing this. God is within everybody. He's not just in certain people.
Okay, take care of your health, but we got two more calls.
Certain people.
We got two more. Take care of your health, Miss Eastside.
Y'all got, what is he?
And we'll be talking.
That got $1,000 suits on. How much your shoes cost? How much your shoes cost?
Okay, we got two more calls, Miss Eastside. Wrap it up.
Every day. Every day.
Okay, wrap it up because we got two more calls.
Thank y'all for what y'all doing. God bless y'all.
God bless you too.
Hello?
Hello, you on the air?
Yeah, I'll be quick. Thank you, brothers, for coming before us. Tyrone, thank you for speaking truth to power and for calling out people within our own house. You know, back in the days of abject slavery, one of the methods is to clean people out of your own house, the traitors, the ones that's been programmed to work against our best interests. Then we go outside and get the ones that's really causing all this foolishness. Yeah. We need to call out these people within our own house, clean the house, and then we'll have a better position to fight. Thank you, brothers. Love y'all.
Thank you. Now. Thank you. Okay, caller, you on the air.
Good morning to both of you, and thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to say, and I'm sure both of you would agree, that we as a people have deep psychological problems.
Yes.
What other group, what other ethnic group would want an oppressor, would vote for their oppressor? That doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah.
You know, I'm on Facebook every day, and some of these Negroes the things they say are ridiculous. They're talking about Coleman Young's weight. Well, last time I looked, Duggan wasn't slim. Last time I looked, you know, they're nitpicking some idiotic reasons not to vote for Coleman Young. Mayor Duggan was summoned to come in here and handle these black folks because he knows how to handle them. Yep. He buys him some Negroes, and the goal is to get us out of the city of Detroit. We had Negroes before him, i.e. Dave Bing, that purposely let the city go to hell so they could justify a doggone bankruptcy that we were not even supposed to be in, so they could steal all of our assets and our pensions. And then they usher in the white man like he was Jesus and said, let there be light. We already had light. You know? But these Negroes we got here in Detroit, are these the real Detroiters, or did they import them from somewhere? They have to be aliens. I don't understand it. Coleman Young has 10 years in government, as a political leader. Mike Duggan doesn't have any. Coleman Young lived here. Someone wrote, well, Coleman Young just moved here 20 years ago, 15. So Mike Duggan just moved here 4 years ago.
He don't even stay here.
And he don't even live here. So, you know, it is so deep. I just don't understand it. I suggest everybody read The Miseducation of the Negro as soon as they can and maybe find out why they're so screwed up in the head. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with that one. We appreciate that. I mean, you said it, you know. I mean, I don't understand the people neither. I don't think the people, I think they flew these people in here and called them Detroiters. Then it's sad, you know. Everything you said was right. You was right on point. But we're going to take, we got one more call we're going to take, and we're going to let Tyrone finish off before it's time to go. Hello, caller. You on the air?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Tyrone. This is Carl Wright, your transportation guy.
Yeah, okay.
What's up, man?
Oh, man, everything.
I'm going to keep it short because I like listening at your research and everything, but we in a desperate situation, and we need Coleman Young. So I'm going to break it down just to the basics. Coleman Young got a long track record without any dirt in it.
Thank you.
Mr. Tyrone, for the past 3.5 years, didn't you see him follow me when Mike Duggan and his administration robbed me and the people of Detroit out of that federal program, transportation program?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
He did. And we talked about that.
We got a thief against an honest black man, and the black man got to do the most talking. Ain't that a damn shame in the all-black city?
I mean, you ever seen Mississippi ain't like this. Okay,
well,
now.
Hey, we got to get out there and we got to vote. But I just wanted to thank you. It's good to see you. And thank you for how you've helped me through these 3 years of dealing with these thieves and crooks.
Okay, now.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Talk to you later.
This is one more.
All right. Make it short and quick. He have to get back. Hello, it's your turn.
I'm saying thank you both for coming on this morning.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate this, and I want to encourage us to get out and vote for our new mayor, Mayor Coleman A. Young, Jr. And just as the children of Israel came out of bondage in Egypt physically, we are at our position now to come out spiritually. It's a mind thing. So let's come on out of Egypt now and go into the promised land.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. I'll get, maybe we get late on. You know, I hear the calls. We've been, since 1967 ride, they said the corporation came together, J.L. Hudson and the CEOs of Chrysler, General Motors, Ford, and the banks, and they created New Detroit. New Detroit was designed to buy and bribe activists. all your activist groups became a 503c1. They could get donations from foundations. So when that happened, you had a lot of groups came and organized, and they carried out struggles that was designed to fail. Their program was to organize disorganization in Detroit. They would walk in front of buildings and around buildings. He-ho, I ain't gonna take it no more. They did that. They wasn't marching like they did in the South. When they marched in the South, they had the intent not to speak to power, but to mess power up. They marched when they first started in 1963 in Birmingham. They went 38 days straight. Bull Connor came out there with the dogs in the hose, water hose. He was the police chief. They kept every day they was out. Milkman could not deliver milk, and milk was spoiled. Nobody was downtown shopping because everything was in chaos. Bus couldn't get by. That was the intent. They was fighting. They was what King called distributing the pain. You put pain on me, I put pain on your economy.
Yes, yeah.
That's 38 days. Business and bankers came to the civil rights revolutionaries. What do y'all want? That's how, when I went down there 3 years later, I was waiting on my cousin. They said, he's on the bus. I said, oh, okay, he's riding? No, he's driving the bus. He's not just sitting in front of the bus, he's driving it.
Yeah.
That's what happened. So, when you look at that type of fight and look at what's been happening here, there's been a conscious effort by all these groups to not to organize the masses of people. If you don't have masses of ordinary people and you call for a boycott, are you really real?
Right.
They 33 so-called activist groups called a couple of years ago, called for a boycott, put out some leaflets. They sit in a room somewhere. These are armchair revolutionaries. And they said, a boycott. So I took some people around on the east, west, south side of the city. Asked people at the supermarket, what you shopping for? You know it's a boycott? They asked me, what you talking about? I was in line. It was at the liquor store. They was buying lotto tickets. Man, I ain't think about this. Well, I ain't heard nothing about no boycott. How the hell you going to have a boycott and ordinary people don't know nothing about it?
Right.
The same way when they marched. When they march on a building on Kid Rock, unless Channel 4 2 or 7 put it on TV, and they put on there to make them real look bad, say 1,000. They said 1,000. What do you get out of that? Standing in front of the spirit of Detroit. Nobody knows it.
Right.
What you let's Channel 4 put it in the paper. Then they don't even put it in the paper. So you done got these people, the leaders, walk around DTE somewhere, and you and your co-partner go up there and negotiate while the other people march around. I know what they negotiated. They negotiated to get some crumbs. That's what the type of leadership you had in the activist movement. I don't know one. I go to their meeting just recently, and I see the same old people getting up talking platitudes, things that we already know. Yeah. It's racism. And the crowd said, yeah, man, tell it, brother, tell it. We've been hearing this since I was 2 years old.
Yeah, yeah.
But they don't talk no facts of how we're gonna get out of this thing. The only way we can get out of this thing is got to be we. Now, here's what I suggest. I suggested to all the people of Detroit and the activist leaders knows it. We have to have the people. Yeah. The people that's the power. Yeah. Our movement and the Social Security thing. No, it tells you there is strength in numbers. And when you got numbers, you hurt production. Yeah. You get concessions.
That's right.
Now, everybody's hurting in Detroit. Yeah. The welfare mother ain't getting no more welfare. The baby ain't getting no more welfare. That's who's not getting no welfare. They ain't getting no more milk. Living in an abandoned house, cold. You got the city workers lost their job. Yeah. And pensions. You got them bringing in workers. They ain't bringing no applications downtown. They're bringing in workers. That's right. And the city council is giving them perks.
That's right.
The Arabs came here in our neighborhoods. They displaced us in our own neighborhood. Who you pay gas to? You don't pay gas to a blackface.
That's right.
You pay gas to an immigrant.
That's right.
You pay all that, and you remember now, the federal government financed them with our tax money. Right. But in our own neighborhoods, there's no job opportunity. We are under oppression.
That's right.
The Financial Review Board controls both the executive and the legislative branch of government in Detroit. They got the income tax. Yeah. They control the budget. Mm-hmm. So here yes, I'm voting for Coleman Young. We must vote for Coleman Young. We must go out and get as many people. But I wish Coleman Young had used his campaign as a movement a little better. Now but we still got to vote for him. But in the meantime, what we have to do, if we don't have means of communication with ordinary people, we cannot stop this steamroller. Right. We cannot stop it in courts because the Supreme Court say it's all right for them to take and the governor don't recognize our vote as a conclusion. They already said the Supreme Court just the other day. Mm-hmm. So anybody talking about going to the Supreme Court gets the relief. That's a diversion. That's misleadership. Mm-hmm. So the power is us.
That's right.
I have a plan, and I'll talk to you more at length about it. The plan is to organize the people by zip codes. They ain't got money. But if we organize the people by zip codes, it's 27 officials. Yeah. If we had 27 people to head to the zip code, yeah. We had an executive board of these 10 areas that I got drawn up. Wow. Then in an organized way, that we go to, for example, to the young people that's talking about we want $15 an hour. I broke it down. They talked about housing. That's how they put you out of the city if you ain't got a house. What I found out, if you make $5.20 an hour, it's $10,000 a year. Affordable house would be about $400, $300. Mm-hmm. If you make $7.81 an hour, that's $14,099 a year. Well, a house like that would be about $500. If you make $13.81, when you affordable house would be $601. Now, how I do that? I take 28% for housing costs, and I would percent that into how much you make a month. Gross. That's affordable. What they talking about affordable is not affordable. Right. But if we had enough people, we say won't be no baseball game today unless this is done.
Yes.
We don't give a damn what the governor said and what the law is. The law is nothing but the will who control who got the money. And they buy up the legislators, and the legislators make law for them.
Right.
So any unjust law, we won't recognize it.
Right.
So if we had 50,000, and we can get 50,000, because 50,000, they're dissatisfied, and they're turning their dissatisfaction in on themselves because nobody tried to organize them. That's organizing disorganization in Detroit. Yeah. That's what the activist movement leaders done. Yeah. So I'm saying, I'm hoping I can come back next, maybe a week or so, because I don't have the money, because I'm on Social Security. But I do have a few people that's helping me. And come back on and we can talk about not what they are doing, but what we going to do.
You want to take his last call?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay. Go ahead, you're on the air.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, now it's some more information that black folks need to read. It came out from that FBI intelligence assessment. It's called parenthesis U / FOUO close parenthesis Black Identity Extremist. I think everybody needs to read that, because this wasn't supposed to come out to what happened out there in South Carolina with the white folks fighting each other. But this is a sensitive thing that came out from the FBI. And none of us supposed to have at it, because it says that on the front of the cover.
Okay, appreciate it. We got a few minutes. We got some more calls.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you now.
You're on the air. Make it short. We
got 5 minutes.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
I just want to say I'm so glad to see Tyrone face, because I hear his voice a lot. And he gets cut off when he's trying to explain things. I am so glad to see him. And I want to know your name. Are you running for anything? The guy with the mustache and the beard?
No, I'm not running. My name is Kenny. They call me the Candle Man.
Oh, you're the Candle Man.
I'm the Candle Man. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so glad to see these faces. Next, I want to see East Side lady face.
Yeah.
Because she's knowledgeable too. I'm not that knowledgeable. I came here in '95, and I observe how people are lazy here. Not all of them. They just don't pull together. Just like I watch channel 56-4 PBS. I look and see how these people in other countries can get things done.
Right.
You know, why we can't pull together and get things done?
You're right. You're right.
I just want to say I'm glad to see your face, and not both.
Glad to hear from you too.
Yeah, good to hear you. And
I wanted to come up there, but I said I got my pajamas on, and I don't have time to clean up and put some clothes on.
Okay. Well,
you keep up the good work, and I'm going to see what I can do to help y'all.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm going to give a number out if anyone want to help so we can continue this show.
Go ahead. Last call.
Okay. Hey, Kenny.
Yeah.
The people have to look at what's happening here in Detroit with these black folks that have embraced Mike Duggan. What they're doing is creating a situation where our children and our grandchildren, their children and their grandchildren will be in debt for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
That's how foolish they are getting behind Mike Duggan.
Yeah.
They're creating debt for the future, and the future is our children and grandchildren.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I think you got one call left. You're the last caller. Go ahead.
Thank you. This is Dee Dee. Thank you, Candleman. Thank you,
welcome.
Tyrone.
Hi, Dee Dee.
A wonderful show.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, it was wonderful. Thank you guys for putting it on.
Okay. I just want to say this too. Duggan, what he did, he took the grant for the housing and turned them into loans. And you got people that don't have jobs. They talk about a no interest loan. How can they pay it back if they don't have a job? So that don't make sense right there. We had grants where you didn't have to pay it back for the people to fix up their homes. And that's what I'm saying. And you guys are standing behind this guy here. It don't make sense. Go ahead, Tyrone. We're going to
just what he said. And that's our tax money coming back from the federal government. It's not a gift from the federal government. He took our tax money and got a waiver from Obama to a Harvard person. And to turn our tax money into a loan with that we are borrowing our own tax money. And that is because I guess $907 a month. I need my porch fixed. I could, if that was intact, I go and when they get it, I could get that money, fix my thing. But to keep me from doing that and move me on out of town, well, that's what they're doing. But and here's my number. My number is area code 313-721-8384. Again, 721-8384. I need all donations, and we'll bring the information. And there's going to be a lot of information that they don't talk about at all. The activists are the so-called official leaders like the ministers. But I'll say this. We're in big trouble. They're moving us out. I gave you the figures. Now the question is, where are we going? I started studying what they call enclaves. 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 These are suburban enclaves like Ferguson, Missouri. They moved a lot of blacks out of St. Louis. Right. And they got all downtown is gated. In Memphis, where what's his name? Reed had his bar down there. Blacks got to pay $5 to get downtown. So what they're doing, they're moving us to black enclaves. And the black enclaves, like I say, is Ferguson. And Ferguson, Missouri, is where you got the immigrants own the businesses, and blacks, youth got no jobs, and they go to prison, and they are surrounded by white suburbs. And the white suburbs ticket them when they come out of there, big tickets. I seen that in the 90s when my niece in Louisville in Shiver, Kentucky, happened to be in one of those enclaves. So that's what they're centers at enclaves. That's the second form of reservations. We are people, they're moving black people to reservations, but the reservations are suburban enclaves like they moved the Indians. All major cities, black population is moved out. Washington, D.C. is not chocolate no more. Harlem is not black no more. Look at Detroit. We are going out in big numbers. I think I gave you those things. So when they pass all talking about open up business here and there, if you ain't got no market, you got no business. So all those are I, me, and my programs, and they are diversion. We must fight this thing as a people because we are oppressed as a people.
Well, we need everyone to get out and vote November the 7th. It's time for new folks to get in office. We need Coleman in there and Coleman A. Young the second. We need all the young folks to get out and vote and put a mayor in there to care about the people in the neighborhoods, the ground root people, and not only corporate downtown. We don't live downtown. We live in the neighborhoods. I've been there 60-something years, and I know folks can say what they want, but I see ain't nothing changed but some street lights that we had already in trash. Thank you for tuning in, and we want to thank all y'all for calling in, and we'll see you the next go-around.